All right, folks, how you doing? Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a technical snafu. It only opened in portrait mode. Let's see if we can get this one to start up. I like pancakes.
Sorry, I got to
Say again?
Sorry. I had to mute because I was anyway, go ahead.
No, we're back up and running. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I'm not sure what happened. We had the portrait side up. For some reason, it only initiated the camera, didn't initiate in the landscape mode. And so we're just running portrait mode or landscape mode today. So, all right. Well, I'm going to put this in real quick. And all right. So that's closed off. I'm just going to shut that down over there.
Now all right. You're live on both.
Am I live in both?
Yes. That's what I'm showing.
That is so freaking weird.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I think this is a I think this is a Streamlabs issue. It doesn't happen all the time. I'm going to try and get in. Why in the world? Yeah, sure enough, it is. I'm in both. That is so freaking weird. Okay, I am back. This is just... Okay, so remember the little warning sign thing that I put up there? Yeah, I think that's what this is going to... Like, warning, we are going to have technical issues. All right, we're back. Thank you for everybody for being patient with me. I want to say something, but it'll tick people off. Good morning, Brown Sugar. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Brown Sugar sent me a couple of photos yesterday and said, look, I got my packages. I always love seeing her smile. She's got an amazing smile. So
yeah,
very cool.
Pretty special.
She's good people. I love Brown Sugar. She always sends me nice notes. All right. So let's go back through and see what's here. Crypto Keeper MFL says you're live on both. Okay, outstanding. Thank you so much for that. Good morning, Malcolm. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you all for being here. All right. I love technical issues, don't you? I mean, as a technician, you think I would have this like down, and no. All right, but it's all good. No worries. We are back up, ready to go. Okay. So here's what I want to ask. Hopefully there's only a couple of you. I know the number on my shorts video for this is very, very small. So hopefully most of you haven't done this. True or false? Okay, true or false? This is just a single trivia question. True or false? We are in full swing in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris, France. If you guys haven't been watching that, we have about 5 or 6 medals right now for the U.S. China is pushing 5 or 6 medals. And then we have Australia, who's actually leading the gold medal count with 3 or 4 today. They crushed the shooting and the swimming. But here's my question for you. True or false? Gold medals are all gold. True or false? Gold medals are all gold. And so the reason that I'm asking this is I was looking at the medals and I was looking at the Olympic medals, looking at the makeup of them, looking at the bronze, trying to understand how they made it, was looking at the process. And I started going through looking at the general makeup of these and what they do. And it got me thinking about the gold medal. And so what I will say is false is the correct answer. You guys got this, right? It's no surprise. But does anybody know, and this is something that was really surprising to me, does anybody know what the required minimum amount of silver has to be in the medal? Now, I will give you a clue. It's between 90 and 100%. Okay. but it is a gold medal, so it has to contain gold. So it's give you a clue. It's not 100%, but between 90 and let's say 99%. What does the silver makeup have to be of the U.S. or not the U.S., just the Olympic gold medal? Take a gander, take a guess. Don't look it up. Just take a guess. There's no prize given away here. It's just general chit chat. What's up, Ringmaster Way? Good morning, brother.
Wingmaster Way.
Wingmaster Wingmaster Way.
Wingmaster. Sorry.
That's fine.
You gotta look. Anyway, ignore me, people. I'm having issues.
I have a really hard time doing that, Paula. Even if I wanted to.
Whatever.
So yeah, we got people in here. So let's see. We've got 10%, 94%, 92, 925. That's the type of silver. I know it's 92.5, 99%, 90%. So 925 is it's a type of silver, right? It tells you makeup, but it's 92.5%. And I believe that's probably what Coin Dude was trying to say. So at least 92.5% has to be silver, right? And when you look at the gold content of the ones that are coming out of Paris, it's only 6 grams of gold per medal. So you're talking about I figure that's what you were talking about, Coin Dude. You're talking about a medal that weighs, 15 ounces and 14 and a half of it is silver. Right. So the question that I have for that is, for the effort that these folks are doing, obviously, if you have 15 ounces of silver, you're talking about a massive, massive amount of money, or gold. You're talking about a massive, massive amount of money. But should the Olympians feel like ripped off by only having 6 grams of gold and 14 ounces of silver for winning something that classifies them technically the best of the best in their discipline? Do you guys think that is that's acceptable? Now we'll talk a little bit about what I found, why they do certain things like that. But do you think that these athletes deserve more? So that's something I want you guys to think about. We'll kind of chit chat about that. Have you watched any of the Olympics, Paula?
Absolutely not. After that opening ceremony, I will not be watching the Olympics this year. I am boycotting. So carry on. Carry on.
I looked at, I was like, wow.
Carry on. That was absurd and pretty gross.
It's France. It's France.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They mocked the Lord's Supper, and that is not acceptable in any country. So there you go. There's a rant.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't see it, I'm going to tell you this: don't bother.
Gross.
Don't bother. It's not worth it. It was a gross deception,
Yes.
or gross depiction of something that is. It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be a religious piece. It was just a gross mockery of something that is sacred. It's bad. It was in bad form, bad taste. The appeal was to a specific genre. It was just gross. Yeah.
The satanic genre?
More than that. I mean, it's just, yeah, it was bad. Now I will say this, their idea of art is, when you go to Paris, and again, my wife and I just came back from Europe a month ago. You can have Paris. I give a rat's ass less about that city. I don't. there's some beautiful items there, but put me in the outskirts, right? Get me into Montmartre, put me into the hills. If you're going to get me into France, get me to the south of France. You can have Paris. Paris is for the birds. Now, saying that, I got to see some amazing things, right? There was some great history there. I absolutely loved going to Versailles, right? The Louvre, being able to see the place where, what's the Monticello, the building that Monticello was built after, there on the river, next to the Gold Bridge. So there's some amazing things that are happening there, but in general, you can have Paris. I wasn't pleased by that, but it was a gross depiction of just things a lot of people hold dear. Tiger Stacker. Tiger Stacker is everywhere. Yes, Tiger Stacker is everywhere. That is fact. What's going on, Tiger? How you doing, brother? Yeah, but yeah, it was absurd. It was gross. Obtuse, right?
Obtuse.
Oh, I don't know
No,
where
the
that
only
came
the only
from,
part
but
of the Olympics I've watched like little clips that like on Facebook, the little reels and
yeah.
stuff. I've seen little clips and stuff of some of our athletes who
Morning,
have
Pete.
won some medals, and I guess we are killing it, but America.
We're doing well. China in gold count and Australia in gold count are leading. Australia's number one in gold count. The three of us are tied with 5 medals apiece. We have 1 gold, 2 silver, 2 bronze. China has 2 gold, 2 silver, 1 bronze. Australia has 3 gold, 2 silver. Last I checked, that might have updated. This was last night.
So we still have the majority of the track and field,
there's
right?
a lot to come. Like
yeah, so we will
swimming prelims. Now I will say this: the lady who went up against Katie Ledecky, and I love Katie Ledecky. She's a phenomenal swimmer. But the lady who went up against Katie Ledecky in the trials in swimming, holy crap. In the trial, she crushed the world record. It was one of the cleanest, most technically perfect swims I think I've ever seen. And we're triathletes, my wife and I. So we like watching the cycling. We watch swimming and triathlon and all that kind of stuff. It was by far one of the best technical swims I've ever seen. She just was on point. I mean, it was like, holy smokes.
Well, if you're going to have a swim like that, the Olympics is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And hey, Steve Lapointe with the $3 super chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Man.
Exactly. But yeah, just so, I mean, already we've seen some good things out of it. But I was just like, I'm really disheartened. They're going to get lots of backlash, from this.
As they should.
Yeah. They're going to get lots of backlash.
As they should.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just, they made a mockery of it, and that when is that ever acceptable?
No, I mean, so there's a thing about, well, what's funny about, when you look at Paris and you look at France and you look a lot of the church history, okay, let's do this. Let me break down. Let me say this first. This is one of the jokes that I was asked when I came into Paris when we were in our tour. And they're like, does anybody know the national sport of Paris? In the last 5 years, the national sport of Paris has changed. Does anybody know what the national sport of Paris is? What's up, Mickey Fur? How you doing, good sir? Hope you are doing well. Are you and Chuck and Eric down there all sipping coffee or Bloody Marys?
I'm so sad that they are not up here this morning.
Oh, I'm sure they're probably lurking in the background.
I'm so sad.
Tiger Sacker says soccer. AZ Coins says biking. Tiger says I need coffee. I actually need a fresh cup of coffee, but which is funny. I just went down and got one a second ago. Keep guessing. So soccer by Ringmaster Ray, badminton by Steve Lapointe, cricket by Ron Stewart. Yeah, it was horrible, right? We got another cricket. So
yeah,
the national pastime over the last couple of years in Paris, the sport is picketing, protesting.
wow.
Parisians love their protests. They love to challenge the status quo. They love to argue and fight and do that kind of stuff. Quite ignorant in certain facets of authority. And so I think this was a testament of kind of what their stance is right now on many things. Yep. Dan McCumber says whining. There you go. Now, again, if you're from France, I'm not knocking France. Okay. France as a whole is gorgeous. You get out of Paris and it's a whole nother world. But the Parisians, again, it was a testament to the true belief of what they are. And
Satanists.
it was horrible. It was horrible.
Satanists. That look, what that depiction of something that so many people around the world hold precious and close to their heart, and that's untouchable. Like you don't do that. Who does that?
Yeah.
That was gross.
Ron Stewart.
I just think that was gross. That's not art. That's spitting in anybody who has any faith at all. That is spitting in their face. That's what that is.
No, I like bocce. Bocce's a lot of fun.
They know that the entire world is watching.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was a spit in the face of religion, anything, any Western religion, right?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that in that, especially in something like that, where it is supposed to, the Olympics were meant to bring the country together in a peaceful activity.
Yep. Hey, Southern Coin Hunter just subscribed. Thank you. Much appreciated, brother. Appreciate you.
You know, the Olympics is supposed to depict unity around the world.
So
it's shown in the rings, in the Olympic rings. It's supposed to bring unity. Why would you do something so divisive? So divisive.
It's gonna upset. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Catholicism. It doesn't matter if it's Protestant. It doesn't matter if
and I know this is my first thought was we should have packed our athletes up and gone home, but that's not fair to the athletes. But
yeah.
Oh.
Well, and there's a lot of political, right? We see this in the coin hobby, and I'm going to say this, not the same level. Okay. We see it in the media. We see it in the coin hobby. We see it in general things. There's a desire to be first, to be seen. There's a desire to be talked about. There's a desire to be looked at as the leader in something. But there are certain things that you just don't make mockeries of. Now, I say this, okay, separate religion from this. Okay, 100% cut religion out of the picture. To take and to mock a piece of art is whatever it is.
It's not just a piece of art.
Well, I understand. Okay. When you look at I understand that, but I'm talking, you separate the religion from it. Okay. Because we already know from a religious standpoint, this is 100% sacrilegious, but separate the art from it. Look at what is Paris known for. Like, this was what they don't understand is this was a a tearing apart of everything, quote unquote, Paris and represents, which was the love of art, the remembrance of classics, the remembrance of Renaissance, the remembrance of the masters, the remembrance of this, right? You see this in Italy, you see this in France. You get kind of combative design elements because you look at this, even within cooking and stuff like that. This was a mockery of everything that France holds true. And so take religion aside. We already know this is sacrilegious, this borderline on just blasphemy. I mean, it was horrible.
It was absolutely blasphemy.
Right. But if you take that component out and you make it just about what France is, and you talk about the history of that, it's horrible. And so what they didn't necessarily think about is that, yes, they want to pave the way. They want to be fresh. They want to do this stuff. That's good. Good for you. But you just degraded your own nation. I mean, totally degraded your own nation. The world is going to look at France like a bunch of blasphemous,
like
ignorant,
the dirty whores they are.
Fools, right? And so, well, but again, I'm not going to say that. I know a lot of French people who are amazing people.
I'm sure, and I am sure there are a huge number of people in that country that are so embarrassed.
Oh, I'm sure there's a ton of them, right? And so,
and pissed off.
The Olympic Committee, should they should have put a stop to
that. They need to apologize.
Yeah. So because I think the Olympic Committee is going to get so much backlash from this particular. Now, if you look at there have been times throughout history where some atrocities, some really, really bad things have happened. Okay. When you look, hey, Crispy, what's going on? I just saw your name in there. Bill Driscoll, good morning. When you look at this, there's been some atrocities that have happened during the Olympic timeframes, right? So the Olympics have been tarnished more than once over political decisions and choices, right? Unfortunately, it is a world stage. And if somebody wants to make a impact, positive or negative, that is a great stage for people to do it. It's a very sad thing that they would take something that many people believe to be a fairly sacred historical event and just crap on it.
Here's my question. So I know there is an Olympic Committee that is represented by, I believe, each country. They have a representative from each country, or maybe not each country, but other countries. There is an Olympic Committee. That committee had to have approved this. So it is not all on France.
No, that's what I said. This should have stopped with the Olympic Committee. They should have said, hey, that's a little borderline.
Why they thought this
that should have been too much. Now, I'll be very clear. Okay. There's going to be people in this community who have a preference for that specific sexuality or whatever. This has nothing to do with the sexuality issue. Zero. Mm-mm. This has to do with the depiction of something that many, many people across the globe hold to be sacred. They have a value to this. And it's a mockery of millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people. I would lay wager to almost go to the billions, because of the cross between, Christianity and you have Catholicism, you have Protestantism, Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox. Doesn't matter what it is. The depiction of Christ at the Last Supper it's well known across the globe. So to make a mockery of something that is so widely known, widely accepted on a stage that affects the entire world. I mean, you're talking, there's going to be backlash from many nations over this.
Let's look at it from another angle too. Okay. We talk about like drag queen story hour and stuff like that, right? I think that is terrible, but I just wouldn't take my grandchildren there. If the parents, obviously there are parents who know what's going on and take their grandchildren there. That's their choice. People can raise their kids and their kids. They can raise their kids how they want. We can disagree with it or whatever. many children watched the opening ceremonies to the Olympics. Many children. Those parents didn't know that this was going to go on at the opening ceremonies. And so their children saw that without their consent, without the parents' consent. They saw that. So there were children that were exposed to something that I'm sure a lot of parents try to shield their children from, and they have that right to do that.
So Ron Stewart says something, and I didn't want to go there, but you're absolutely right. Muslims don't like the mocking of Jesus either.
No, most people
Right.
don't. Even non-religious, even
So,
people who don't necessarily believe in Christ and are not, are kind of agnostic, I guess. They don't appreciate things like that. Those people, so people with alternative lifestyles, they don't want us mocking them. Why is this okay?
well,
They're,
again, so I will be very careful to urge caution to say that this was any specific community, right? That performed this. This was an election of the governing body of the Olympics in Paris, France, that made the determination. Whomever they chose as the artist for this, and they could have done RuPaul as the person who was creating it, knowing that this is what it was going to turn out to. If that's who they selected and they performed that, I'm not knocking the people that designed it, because that was the intent. The intent, the people who coordinated this are the people that need to have their butt handed to them, because it was a design element, right? So I want to urge caution. And my personal beliefs on where I am, my sexuality, my belief in that structure, my belief in Christ, my belief, whatever it is, that's mine and mine alone. Right. And I know where I stand. And if you want to talk to me about it, I'll tell you where I stand. But I am not going to ridicule and chastise you. I don't have to agree with you, but I'm not going to ridicule and chastise you for your choice. What I am going to do is I'm going to ridicule the committee who selected this, because it's a defamation against people who watch this looking for something that comes every few years to go, what the
That's
hell?
Supposed to unite the world. That is supposed to unite the world.
What the hell did they just do?
Yeah.
Right. And so it has nothing. And I want to be very clear. My personal viewpoints around religion, sexuality, anything like that is not what is being discussed here. I'm not going to get into that debate. That's not something that we're going to talk about. If you want to talk to me about it, we talk one-on-one. I tell you where I stand. I tell you what I believe in. Okay. But where I'm pissed off, what I'm upset about, what I shouldn't even say pissed off. I'm not really pissed off. I'm more disgusted. And that is that somebody sat down with a group of people and said, hey, this would be acceptable. Yeah. Let's mock the entire world.
This is a great idea.
Yeah, let's mock the entire religious world. Let's degrade billions and billions of people and just chastise the hell out of what a lot of people hold dear. I think that's horseshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do. I think it's
just gross.
Yeah.
So
it is one of those things. Now, I'm not going to get into the discussion of, were the people, because the performers are performers. They're performing their trade. I've got nothing against that. Now, looking at it was like, oh my God, what the hell did they choose? But I'm not degrading the performers. I'm not degrading what they do. It's entertainment. It's a show. If that's your thing, then go do it. Right. If you like, we had the opportunity to go to Moulin Rouge when we were in Paris, right? Burlesque is a thing there. It still exists. There's multiple burlesque houses.
It's been around for decades.
If you're into that kind of stuff, again, it's
the issue.
No, but my point is that it doesn't matter if you consider that entertainment or not. That is not the component of the discussion. The component of the discussion is the blatant disregard for billions of people's religious beliefs. And it was across the board. It was blatant. It was blasphemy. It was horrible. So yeah, I was disgusted by that. Now, am I going to not watch the Olympics? I'm going to support my athlete, right? I'm going to watch triathlon. I'm going to watch swimming. I'm going to watch cross country cross country running. I'm going to watch track and field. I'm going to watch the decathlon. I'm going to check into some of that stuff, not because I support the Olympics, but because I support the athletes who have busted their ass for years to even have the opportunity to stand on that stage.
Well, I'm just wondering why our well, I shouldn't wonder because our news stations are garbage, but why they didn't immediately cut the feed on that. I don't, you know what I mean? Like that would have made a lot of sense too. Just cut the feed.
So I can tell you exactly why they didn't do it. And
money.
Yes, money. Yeah, it's in the billions.
Yeah, follow the money
of dollars that are done through advertisements and stuff like that. I'm sure in certain places of the world it was pulled. I'll lay wager that in certain places when they identified, it was cut down, it was shut down. They stopped it. I'm sure places in the U.S. they would never do that. We have the company in Mississippi canceled. I don't know what that means. You'll have to clarify. Yeah, and Malcolm, again, your viewpoint is your viewpoint, right? You can think about
they rammed it down our throat in those opening ceremonies.
Yeah, and again, it's not a viewpoint. Here's the disgusting part about this, right? And I say this not because of the sexuality. I'm not talking about this because it's purely religious piece. The religious piece is the major component here. I'm not talking about the performers. I'm not talking about those kind of things. What I'm talking about, the specifics about what I'm talking about, the engagement of what I'm talking about in this particular piece. Me, okay, Paula, I know where Paula stands. I know exactly where Paula stands. She's biting her tongue very well. So thank you, Paula. Because I know you have some really foul things you want to say about it.
Oh yeah, I do, but
she's like, you know it. But here's the thing, Tiger Stacker for the $5 super chat. You were right, supporting the innocent athletes, but the Olympics need punishment. They need to be discussed. They need to be disgusted about this, and they need to actually do something about it. But when I talk about the entertainers, okay, again, entertainment is entertainment, right? It's not chastising. Now, selection, what they did, the design, the people that we need to be upset about are the people who coordinated the event, right? We should be upset that there wasn't some sort of disclaimer. Hey, some of the information in here could be concerning to whatever. If you have religious whatever, you might want to, steer your children away from this. Hey, this one crosses over some pretty significant lines for many people across the globe. We want you to be aware that this might happen. Basically view at your own risk. That would have been a respectful thing to do. A lot of people would have seen that warning and gone, oh, I'm going to go watch this. I'm going to go find out what it's about. And that would have been fine by them. But it would have been able for us to allow the opportunity to protect kids. It would have allowed this for people who really have a fervent Christianity, Muslim, whatever belief structure that you have. Maybe it's just a pure love of art. It would have gave them the opportunity to go, I find this disgusting. I'm not going to watch it. Thank you for the warning. It gave me the opportunity not to have to view this. I'll use my mom. My mom's probably not in here right now, but I'll use her as an example. Sometimes.
No, I still would have been pissed. I still would have been pissed. That's not the place.
Well, I'm not, again, I 100% agree with you, but if you're going to do something on a stage, you're going to do something that you know is going to affect a bunch of people, and you have that intent. The intent was there. There's no doubt in my mind that it was meant to cause some ruffle, some feathers, right? But again, when you look at this particular item, when you look at what happened here, it would have been respectful of them to just say, hey, give us a heads up. Okay.
The Olympics don't belong to France. They belong to the world. France is just the venue. It's just the venue. They didn't have the right to do that. So, anyway.
So, Sterling, the entertainers agree to be a part of the gross display. They're doing what they do. Here's the thing about entertainers. Okay.
No, you knew what they were doing.
They do what they do.
It went beyond entertainment. It went beyond art. It went beyond entertainment. They were saying, they were making a statement.
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that. But let me explain this. Okay. And I want to be as inclusive to exclusion as I can be, because I want to be very clear about something. If you have an R-rated movie, okay, the actors knew what they were doing. They knew the show that they were going to go see. Are you going to take your 3-year-old kid to go see it? NC-17. Are you going to go take your 5-year-old child to go see this? That is not the entertainer's fault. They performed something. It's your decision to go see it or not. The problem with this is they didn't give us the opportunity to know what was happening before they showed it to us. They didn't give us the opportunity to choose that, hey, you know what, this is not that we necessarily need ratings. I'm not talking about ratings. I'm not talking about censorship. Okay. If you want to argue that fact, that's not what the intent of this is. I'm not arguing for or against censorship. I'm not arguing for or against freedoms of speech or artistic ability. You want to do that, that's fine. I'm frustrated that they didn't give us the opportunity to do that. No, political standpoints aside. Okay, here's the thing. Hold on just a sec. I got to clear my throat.
I get your point. So, Azure Blue, is it Satan?
Well, but again, here's the thing. We are in a realm right now where my beliefs can easily be stated. I'm on a front right now, right? We're live. We've had anywhere between 30 and 50 people in the stream. And my opinions can be spouted to anybody at any given point in time. And just because my opinions are stated does not mean they're correct. Just because I'm voicing what I believe to be true and accurate doesn't make it so. Same thing happens within the political realm. We see this all the time. Trump against Biden, Democrat against Republican, left versus right.
No, not Biden.
Okay.
Biden's out.
Say again?
Biden's out.
Well, I know, but there's still discussion regarding it. It doesn't matter if it's Camilla and Trump. It doesn't really matter. Right?
Camilla.
Your belief is your belief. Your discussion is your discussion. Camilla. We can agree to disagree on certain fronts, and that's fine. The problem, and you'll hear me say this 1,000 times. You're going to hear me say it 1,000 times more. The problem with today's society is we agree to disagree. That we've lost the art to do that. We've totally lost the ability to have basic discussions and not be accusatory in our statements. Right? People who start accusatory statements are eking for a fight. Why do you believe that? Why is that the case? My personal opinion, not you, not that person, not just why do you believe that? What I see when I watch this is this, right? It's not accusatory. I'm not accusing anybody. What I am saying is it was disrespectful and ignorant of the Olympic Committee to, one, like you said, with the children, right? Okay, let's leave and go there. Let's say Camilla. It's not Camilla. What is her name? Camilla. Yeah, I don't know who she is. I know who she is, but I don't pay attention to that aspect of it because there's so much crap around that. I want to live a better life than disdain and hate. I don't want to listen to all that stuff. So if I said her name wrong, I apologize. Carmela, whatever her name is. Again, if I misspoken, I'm sorry.
I don't even think she knows how to pronounce her name.
Well, we ain't going there. But again, when you're talking about those kind of items, when you're talking specifically about religion, when you're talking politics, when you're talking about stuff like that, try to be less accusatory. Try to be less pointed with, well, I think that, okay, well, great. As soon as you point, then, you put people on defense. I'm not putting the entertainers on blast. That is not.
I am.
Well, you can. That's fine. That's your choice. But here's the thing. The entertainers do what they do. It's our choice to
They
watch.
knew what they were doing.
How many people turned off the Olympics when they saw this?
It wasn't entertainment. It was politics. That wasn't entertainment. That was politics.
You're crossing politics with entertainment. People use the entertainers to fulfill a function. Okay, that's the fact. You can't argue that. That's the fact. People used entertainers to fulfill a function. Right? It's like people don't feel. We talk about the medical field. You're in the medical field.
Not anymore.
Well, but you were, so you understand it.
I know.
Okay. So
I'm just being obstinate.
Being
obtuse.
Obtuse. If you have a situation where you have an oxygen tank and you have a nitrogen tank, or a nitrous oxide tank, you work at a dentist office and you have oxygen and nitrous oxide, you should not be able to plug the nitrous oxide connector into the oxygen connector. They should be designed different. If they're designed exactly the same, it's not the person who made the mistake, it's the system that failed the person. The system should be set up in a way that it doesn't allow the person to make that mistake. You work the problems out of the system, and then the people can't make those mistakes. They'll end up eventually making other mistakes, and that points to flaws within the particular system. When you're looking at the Olympic system, the Olympic structure of what happened, taking this from a process standpoint, this is what I do, okay? Taking this from a process standpoint, it's not the entertainers that failed us. It's the people that utilize the entertainment, the type of entertainment that was selected. It was that they take them and utilize them to fulfill a political function or make a political statement or an anti-religious statement or a Semitic statement or whatever it might have been that they made. It was utilizing them to fulfill a function. I cannot at any point fault the entertainers. I don't have to like what they do, but I can't fault them. They did what they were paid to do, and whether you call it entertainment or not, they were paid to do that. It's the system that utilized them that failed the people. And so, again, I cannot chastise the person. I chastise the organization. The U.S. Olympic Committee
both.
No, you cannot, because again.
Oh, no, you can. Those people, those entertainers had a choice.
But the entertainers, okay, so
they had a choice. They knew what they were doing.
Okay.
They had a choice. They could have easily spoke up and said, no, listen, I'll go read a story to your children, but I'm not going to do this. This is pushing it. This is beyond. They had a choice. I think it started with them. The committee approved it, but it started with those individual people who made that choice to do that. And the entertainers are the ones who created that, whatever it was.
Okay, we'll give a great example of this. Okay, so we're gonna change this out. Okay, and we're gonna take this from another front. This is gonna piss a couple people off, and I don't care if it pisses people off. This is just a general discussion. I'm not pointing anything.
No, they're adults.
People had the opportunity to say no to this particular role.
Yes.
Okay, great. So nobody took this role. Well, we know that's not going to happen. We know there's an entire community engaged in this particular thing where there's a lot of people who engage that. Okay. The people who performed this, do we chastise them? Now, I want to be very careful when you answer this. I want you to be very careful when you answer this. Okay. People in chat. Okay. Same thing. As Christians, what are we called to do? Judge or give grace? We don't have to like what they do. We don't have to agree with what they do, but who in the hell are we to judge and pass judgment?
Well, no,
No, no,
no,
no,
you're
no, no,
going,
no,
you're going way beyond on
no, I'm
that,
not. No,
Frostby.
I'm not.
Yes, you
Because here's
are.
the thing.
Yes, you are. Nope.
Here's how this is why I say this.
No, you can love the person, but you can still hate the sin.
You absolutely can. So again, it's not the entertainers that we have to be disgruntled with. What they did, the actions that were done were not the design of the entertainers.
Yes, they were.
No, they weren't. The entertainers performed the act. You
Those
cannot like the
people
act.
designed that piece of work. Those people designed that piece of work. They absolutely did.
Who
And
did?
they had a
Who was the
choice to
designer of
step
this?
back and say, I'm
Who was
not
the
doing
designer
it.
of this, Paula?
It doesn't matter. They had the choice to say, I'm not doing this. This crosses the line. I'm there. They had a choice to do it, to choose not to do it.
Right. But the point is that
They chose division.
Sterling, that's exactly right. Okay. That is exactly right. That is my point. I couldn't have stated
I
it
can't
better.
see what he said.
Our job is to discern evil and stay away from it.
That's what it is. It's evil. That's
But
our job.
that's our job.
But you're saying that those entertainers are just entertainers and we shouldn't chastise them. That's not true.
We don't have to like what they do.
We absolutely have a right to say when people are doing evil. Absolutely. And those people had a choice not to do that. I have a choice every day to sin or not to sin.
What about
day.
What about the entertainer who plays a role of a serial killer?
It's not even the same thing. That is not.
How is it
even
not?
The same thing.
They're performing. So, but here's the thing:
it's not even the same thing. These people knew what they were doing. They
person
were
who played the role
mockery of our religion. They were making a mockery of our religion, and they were doing it on a world stage where nobody had a choice. Nobody knew this was coming. They threw it in our face. And they laughed at us. They pointed and they laughed at us. And they made a mockery of my Lord.
So the offense, I get that. But the offense is not, the entertainers didn't do that.
Yes, they did.
No.
It started with them.
It started with an Olympic committee that made the selection to do that.
It started with the entertainers who agreed to do it. They could have walked away. If nobody had agreed to do it, if nobody would have done it, it wouldn't have gotten done.
Oh, you'll always find people to do a task.
And I'm supposed, so that makes it okay?
No, it doesn't make it okay.
Right.
But the people that stemmed this, the people that designed and coordinated this is the Olympic Committee. The Olympic Committee in France that chose, that put the thing together that said, this is what they're going to do, right? They're the ones that we need to be pissed off about, because that plan, that coordination, that act should never have allowed to pass. If the Olympic Committee,
Charles Manson designed a lot of and directed a lot of people to do really bad things. So should we only convict Charles Manson and not all his gang who went out and killed people? Those people had the choice to do that.
You're right. They do have the choice to do that.
People have a choice. You can't hold a committee accountable for what an individual does. I think the complete opposite of you.
And that's fine.
I think
and
every
that's fine.
individual has to be held accountable for their own actions. We do have to hold everybody who had any part in this needs to be accountable, but it started with the people who sat at that table and put on their costumes and put on this display. It started with them. They knew what they were doing.
Okay.
Every single one of those people knew what they were doing. Those were all probably professional drag queens that did that. They all knew what they were doing.
Okay. But let's go back.
They weren't just entertainers.
Okay. I understand that. And drag queens are entertainers. Like it or not, like what they do, like their craft. Now, again, I'm not saying this, okay? I'm not saying that I support this. Okay. It's just a matter of fact. If the Olympic Committee would have not approved this, it would have never happened. True or false?
Absolutely, that's
Okay.
true.
Then,
But it started with the people who did it.
no, it didn't. The people who coordinated the items, there were a number of different items that were selected for review by the Olympic Committee. There were a bunch of different entertainers. There were different contracts that came out. There were different troops that came out. There were multiple plans that had to be submitted in front of the Olympic Committee. Okay. The Olympic Committee is the one who actually said yes to this particular one.
But it started with the people who created it. That's where it started. If they hadn't ever done that, then the Olympic Committee could have never approved it, and it wouldn't have ever happened.
Hey, Eric, how are you doing?
I mean, we got to start holding people, individuals accountable for things too. We can't just, well, they did it. If they didn't do it, somebody else would have done it. You can't do that. You got to hold, those people had a choice. They knew what they were doing.
So
I'm just going to say it. That was pure evil. That was evil.
So let me, again, folks, Pete Clark says you just proved Paula's point. I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm trying to show that, number one, I don't want people to look at this and say, well, Frosty supports this. But when you look at an organization, okay, we'll take Apple, take whatever you want. And Sterling, everybody's guilty. This is why people across the globe look at Christians with a derogatory fame, because we cast judgment on people. We make a decision, and that's it. This is why a lot of people hate.
I'm not casting any judgment on anybody. I am not.
Well, you're saying that the people are wrong. And in that is judgment.
I am saying what they did was wrong. Absolutely. What they did was pure evil. What they did was pure evil on an individual basis. I am not judging them as people.
But if it would have been for the people in power who would have put this on TV.
What they did was evil.
Everybody casts judgment, Crispy. I know that. Okay? Everybody does.
No,
but just because they do it doesn't make it right.
I'm not saying they are a bad person. I'm saying that act that they did was pure evil, and they had a choice not to do it.
Agree. I'm not arguing that fact. I am not arguing that fact. That fact has already been laid down. I'm not arguing that fact. Those people who put this together would have had zero opportunity to put this on a world stage, and it could have been done in the privacy of their own troop with people who wanted to go to Miami to see it, and it would have never been a thing. These people do this every day. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it just. But if they would not have been given a stage by the Olympic Committee, it never would have been presented in the fashion or at the stage that it was shown on.
But that's not what I'm saying. It started, though, with the individuals.
But these things happen in shows across the U.S., across the world, every day.
Okay.
And you don't have to go to them.
Right.
Those aren't shoved down our throat.
Right.
So it's not the troop fault.
And those started with the individuals too.
It's the Olympic Committee's fault. Because again,
we're gonna have to just agree to disagree on this one.
And we can.
Because had that never been created in the beginning.
Well, but again, okay, so
it started with the individuals. It started, and if you really want to get down to it, it started with one person's agenda. And then other people came in and agreed to be part of it.
Yeah, Steve,
every single one of those people could have walked away at any point.
Yeah, Steve, the whole
Any
system
point.
is designed to discontent you from your institution, your intuition. Disconnected people are easy to manipulate. Yeah. And so my point is that okay, so you have this troop that performed a what we call an extremely disgusting act. There's no argument there. 100% agree. But they perform that all the time in their own private troops and their own shows. They do that stuff all the time anyway. This is something that happens. This is nothing new. This wasn't something that was designed. It wasn't something that was created specifically for this event. This is something that happens all the time.
How do you know that?
What do you mean?
How do you know that this was something that wasn't created for this specific event?
These shows, this type of item happens across the globe.
This type of
everywhere.
show goes on. I know that.
So that's again, this specific choreography, if you want to call it that, might have been designed for this, but the general premise of this happens across the globe everywhere. Every day, every evening. That stuff happens all the time. Now, do I agree with it? No, I do not agree with it. Do I like it? No, I don't. Do I consider it entertainment? No, I don't. Here's the thing, okay? They do this stuff wherever they do it, regardless. My comment is about the Olympic Committee allowing this to be aired in front of millions and millions and millions of viewers. That should never have been allowed to be aired. The act, I can't blame the actors for having this on the Olympics, because if it wouldn't have been for the Olympics allowing the opportunity for the stage to be present, it would never have been done. Yes, exactly, Eric. It was done in bad taste. Absolutely. But if they wouldn't have been given the stage, we wouldn't be talking about it today. We're talking about it because of the stage that it was provided on. Are we not?
Taste.
Say what?
It went beyond bad taste.
Oh, well, I understand, but yes, I understand what he's saying.
I mean, there were countries present at that opening ceremony that if that kind of thing would have gone on in their country, not one of those people would have walked away with their heads. They wouldn't have gone after the Olympic Committee.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, not maybe. Absolutely. In certain countries that were represented at that opening ceremonies, if that thing would have happened in that country, not a single one of those actors would have walked away with their head. Then they probably wouldn't have done that in that country.
No. Again, you had to have somebody that allowed him a stage. That's the point. That's the point. Right?
Well,
this is why it's so disgusting.
Choice.
I get it's a choice. We all have.
I'm not disagreeing with you that the Olympic Committee had a huge part in allowing that to happen. A lot of people did. There were cameramen that were camera people that were filming it. I mean, the networks could have shut it down. There was a whole. I'm talking about at the root cause. Those individual people had a choice to do what they did. That's all I'm saying.
And I fully agree with you. Okay, I fully agree with the fact that people have the opportunity.
We're not talking about coins. I know we probably should get back to talking about something else because.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's one of those things where, Sundays we talk about whatever's. It's kind of just general chit chat. We do that, and again, say again.
I said, "Don't get me preaching."
Well, and again, I don't.
Next.
We're saying the same stuff. We're just saying it different ways. I'm looking at it from a societal, not societal, from an organizational standpoint, right?
Well, Papa Smurf, apparently these people, entertainers or whatever with during the opening ceremonies, apparently they don't get paid. It's a volunteer position.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to do some stuff in the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake, and we weren't paid. It was all volunteer work. So, but it was cool to participate in something huge. Yeah, you don't most don't get paid to do that. It's not like the Olympics where they make, or the Super Bowl or something like that where they do that as well. Sterling said that they did this years ago, when they did London.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't recall that one. I'm not sure I even watched the opening Olympics in London. I remember the games, but I don't remember watching it during that time frame. I wasn't into social media back at that time frame. So.
Southern Coin Hunter, Iran or Iraq too.
Oh, anything in the Middle East, yeah. So, but again, I'm not
just saying that the Olympics is supposed to be, as represented by the rings interlocking. It's supposed to be
joining nations
time where it's a peaceful time where there's unity, and I can't think of, other than something that would have to do with the cross, I can't think of another depiction that would have been worse for them to do. That would have been more of a slap in the face.
I can think of ways that they could have made this worse. I'm just surprised that they went this direction. It was appalling.
It really was. It really was. And the sad thing is there are going to be people out there who will look at it as just pure entertainment and not see it for what it truly is.
Well, remember, Invisible River Ranch, we're not a democracy. We're a republic.
We are a republic.
So when you're talking about a democratic state, France might be democratic. I can't remember. Ron Stewart says we are not in peaceful times.
Democracy is just something that's run by the people, right? But we are a republic.
Yeah, we are a republic. And again, and please, folks, understand that I in no way am supporting this. My whole intent of talking about that was my shame in the Olympic Committee. They're making some really crap decisions. And if they wouldn't have allowed this, it never would have been publicly displayed. I don't condone the actions of anybody, but in this case, you can chastise the people who perform the function. My goal is not to chastise them.
Majority rules.
It's right. I don't have to like them. What I'm angry about is that, number one, the Olympic Committee gave us no forewarning of the just the total ignorance that would be displayed here. And I think that was a foul. They shouldn't have never allowed it. But again, I'm more talking about my disdain with the Olympic Committee and their recent choices. This is not the only one. The Olympic Committee has made some really freaking bad political decisions over the last decade. And so the Olympic Committee themselves needs to be examined. I'm curious if Disney is on the board, because they're making about the same styles of decisions. But anyway, yeah, we can get into something else. We can talk coins. Sorry to belabor that discussion. And again, folks.
No, I'm you get me on this subject. I tried to cut it off. Because I knew that was going to happen. You get me on a subject that has anything to do with my Lord and Savior, and
I get you. Yeah, and I'm not knocking you. Please know that.
But I just think that there's too many times with lots of things, not just this thing that happened with the Olympics, but lots of things where individuals get off. They get let off too easy. by saying that it was somebody else's fault
Well,
or whatever. And I think that it's that we need to start holding individuals responsible for their own actions. We've gotten too far away from that. It's the government's fault. It's the Olympic Committee's fault. It's their parents' fault. It's whatever. At some point, everybody makes their own choice, and we need to start holding more people individually responsible for what they do.
agree. Agree. I'm not arguing that fact.
Yeah.
You and I have talked a lot. We know that where we stand. My problem is that the powers that be enable it. We need to stop enabling people to do those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
right. And that's where, when you look at the general process of things, the village idiot used to be the village idiot, right? Two village idiots usually didn't come together. Now, because of media and the worldwide connection, now you can get idiots from 15 villages that come together, and now they can have the same argument. People think it makes sense. And so there are opportunities for people to make decisions and make choices because they're provided a platform. The platform was utilized to make a very profound and foul, objectifiable blasphemy in most of the world. So I'm down on the system more than I'm down on the people. God's going to judge them, whatever God you have. I'm not knocking whatever you believe. You believe what you believe.
God is the ultimate judge, yep. But we also need to hold people accountable.
Accountability is different than judgment.
But we need to hold them accountable for their own
accountability is different than judgment.
Absolutely.
And so it's important. I think that in this particular case, my argument, my stance was that we need to hold the Olympic Committee accountable.
And hold those people accountable too.
Yeah. Well, in turn, they will be, because if you can keep the system in check, which again, our system's totally wonk right now. But if we can help keep the system in check, it's much easier to look at. And again, I'm not talking government. I'm not talking control. I'm not talking ratings. I'm not talking stuff like that. I'm talking about just keeping the real gross sickness in check.
Well, and how do we do that? How does every individual do that? Well, we hit them where it hurts, in the pocketbook. Yep. We just don't watch. We don't support that. That's the only really what's our recourse as individuals. Well, most things, unfortunately, in today's world, is you follow the money. You hit them where it hurts. That's all you can do, and you can't say to yourself, "Well, I'm only one person." Well, really, where it starts is you make your own bed. You start in your own home. You change things in your own life, and then you go from there. But when it comes to corporate stuff, you just don't support it. I haven't been in a Target since that whole Target thing happened.
Me neither. I won't even go foot into one.
Look at what happened with the beer thing, the Bud Light or whatever. People that happened because people put their foot down and then said, "No, we're not going to support that."
So, gold and silver have no affiliation or agenda. That's fact. Yes, this is why it's fun to stack. Again,
that's not necessarily true either, because the
gold,
prices.
But the gold and the silver themselves don't. It's the people
market. Yeah, the physical.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. But again, folks, I want to point out one other thing. Mike for Democracy said, he says he hears a lot of people say that if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. You will hear me say this, and I think I've said it a couple times already. I am not trying to tell you how you should believe. Not my point. It's not my place.
I didn't hear one person in here say if you don't agree with me, you're wrong.
I haven't been watching chat that closely.
No, I haven't heard one person say if you.
Well, I don't know that he's talking necessarily in chat. I'm just saying he hears lots of talk. And it could be across the community. It could be here. I'm not sure what he's saying. But my point is that we just need to be able to agree to disagree. Okay. Many of us say the same thing in different ways, not realizing that we're in the same side of an argument. And we don't know that we're on the same side of an argument because we don't talk. We get so tuned to our justification of being correct.
Sure, Ronald.
Right.
I know.
And again, it's one of those things where the discussion that was happening today, right? It was heated. Good, right? That's where good discussion comes in. That's where we understand where people are at. That's where we understand and can set boundaries, and we learn where people are. That's not a problem.
Right.
There's no problem with having a heated discussion. Where it becomes a problem is you're wrong and I'm not going to talk to you because you're wrong and it's my way or the highway.
We can't be friends anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And that's bad news. So we can agree to disagree. If you disagree with them, you're an ist. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, I got you. I was like, ist, yeah, whatever the ist might be. Yes. So again, everybody has different vantage points of things. I've done stuff in my professional career that I did not necessarily support, but because it was a requirement, a legal requirement for me to complete it, I had to do it. Now, I objected to the moral standard of where I stood, so people were aware of where I was at. So I voiced my structure, but my job required me to perform that.
Tiger Stacker.
Hey, 5 gifted memberships, Tiger. I appreciate you, brother. Gifted, Begotten, Mike for Democracy, Azure Blue, Papa York, and the Gambit. Please make sure you say in a thank you to Tiger Stacker for the gifted memberships. Tiger, I always appreciate your support. And again, Tiger and I have had plenty of discussions where he's like, hey, Frosty, I don't agree with you. Okay, fine. It's not a big deal.
Don't have to agree.
Don't have
to
hear
each other out and hear each other's points.
Have the discussion.
And both people can be right. Sometimes there's not one right answer.
Fact. 100% fact. Now here is a case in point. I do not fault Paula for having a very pointed, strict belief about her faith. It's her belief. It's what she does. She stands by it. I respect the hell out of that. And she can look at things from that particular lens, and that's where she wants to be. And that's great because that's her choice. If she goes, Frosty, you're wrong, and you have to believe what I believe, I'll say, hey, hey, Paulo, you and I have to talk. Right?
And I would never say that.
But this is why I respect you, because you wouldn't put me in a position to do that. This is where true friends and true discussion and honor before self and integrity come into play. Right?
Yeah.
What Paula and I did today was having a discussion, and we were looking at different vantage points of it. I'm looking at it from a systemic vantage point. She's looking at it from the faith-based, and the people who promoted that were wrong. Do I disagree with her? No, I don't disagree with her at all. My argument was not about that. I can't fault them because if it wouldn't have been for the fact that the larger power encouraged that, allowed that, pursued that, they wouldn't have had the stage to put it on. That's my point. My disdain with this is the French government who allowed it to go through to represent the people. It's not the French people. It's the people who play in power who allowed this piece to go through. That's my disdain. The Olympic Committee, who continues to make terrible decisions regarding certain things without really understanding the general concept of where we are within a topic. They take a small subject of people, and that's what they proceed to. We know what their agenda is, and if you don't think it's an agenda, it's 100% an agenda. Okay.
Well, and I'm human, and I know that my faith says love thy neighbor, but I choose who I live next to.
Fact. That is absolutely correct. Fact. Right.
They all cannot be my neighbors.
Nope. And there are times where I had a job and I enjoyed the job and I stood my ground at a location and I lost my job because of it. And I got in their face and I said, if you think that this is what's going on and you think this is, you have no idea what's coming to you. And my boss called me in and said, that's not right. You can't do that. And I said, no, it's against my moral judgment and I'm not going to do that. And he's like, well, then you can't be here. And I'm like, well, that's fine. Sometimes the decisions you make are going to have negative effects on you. But you get to a point, Paula has made it very clear where her stance is, where my line is. Okay.
Well, my word, my living word also says thou shalt not kill. But I guarantee you, if somebody came in and tried to do something to my kids or my grandkids, I'm doing something that I probably shouldn't be doing. So we are human, and there are times when things need to be done.
Oh. Hold on. I just got an email.
Oh.
This is so cool.
And whoever said we're human and we judge is absolutely correct, because I probably do it on a daily in ways that I don't even realize I'm doing. When I look at somebody in Walmart, I'm probably, that's wearing flesh-colored leggings that probably shouldn't be wearing flesh-colored leggings.
Yeah, we have that
I may
here.
do a little judging.
Yeah. Oh, and I'll be honest with you. I'm a terrible judge.
I am a sinner, and that is why I'm a Christian. That's why I need Jesus.
But it's really easy. It's really easy for us to, and let's go back. We're kind of moving towards.
We are. Let's go back. Can we talk about coins?
Yeah. I'm actually going to use coins as an example so we can kind of go back into this. Paula at LiveCoin Q&A receives hundreds of emails every week about people that tell them, that come to them for assistance, that come to them for information and tell them that they're wrong when they tell them what they have. If you aren't willing to take the advice or the information that's given to you if you ask for advice or you ask for input and then you're going to chastise and belittle the people who do that to you, just stop asking. Right? Just stop asking. Yeah. Because when you have people with like Paula, and again, we talk about not just them, we talk about a bunch of different people. But when you have people who are willing to take your time and take your need and take your questions and do stuff like that, they don't mean to harm you. Right. So again, I apologize for this discussion going so long regarding the Olympics and the discussion. What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at how we just go so far off the rails a lot of times.
Well, but here's the thing. That's not a problem. It's not a problem to go off the rails from time to time. I brought it up inadvertently by talking about the gold medal content in the Olympics.
Well, you made the mistake asking me if I'd watched any of the Olympics.
Yeah. But again, you're just basically talking about, the metal content and stuff. So
Finish your point. From now on, finish your story or whatever you're trying to get across to people before you ask me any questions. I'll just stay
I don't
muted.
mind. This is
I'll just stay muted.
no. I don't want you to stay muted. I enjoy the conversation. And again, I've lost subs today already, which is fine. I don't mind.
I think there was something in that king crab I ate last night. I got the giggles today.
But again,
I
folks,
do. I have have the giggles today. I don't know why, but I had some I made crab louie last night. I spent way too much on king crab legs.
you made crab louie?
Crab louie.
Crab louie.
Yeah, it's a salad.
Okay.
With crab and asparagus and avocado and you put Thousand Island dressing on top of it. Can you believe that? But it's delicious and it's refreshing.
Interesting. Never had
you
that.
can make it with shrimp too. It's much cheaper to make it with like baby shrimp. But I know. I'm sorry, Steve. You can come up anyway.
Yeah, you can come up anyway, Steve, if you want to come on up and hang out.
Okay, do the metal content. Talk about the metal content. I want to hear what the metal content is.
So, yeah, let's get back to that. So, folks, first off, let me thank you guys for the discussion. I appreciate, and again, we don't have to necessarily agree with each other's opinions, but I appreciate you guys coming in here and allowing the opportunity to have the discussion. There's a lot of great minds that are here, and there are a lot of people who really look at the variety of things. There's a lot of people in this chat who love our nation, and I respect that and I appreciate it. And again, no argument, not trying to piss anybody off. Just a general discussion. It got a little bit warm in here, but that's good. It's not a problem. So thank you guys for doing that. Thank you for coming in and having the chit chat. For the people that I pissed off and you decided to take the sub and leave, that's fine by me. I don't care.
I don't think they did. You're at 3.99.
I'm at 3.92. Yeah, I have 8 subs left. I was at 394 when I started. I've lost 2 subs.
I have a crab hangover. It's true.
It's okay.
I might.
But here's the thing. The whole point to this is that I appreciate the discussion. Again, it's chats, super chat. Hold on. I appreciate all of you respecting each other's opinions. And I appreciate you all know I'm the only correct one. Tiger's got jokes. Oh, you know what? You know what? I do want you guys to attend a video that I'm going to be doing next week. The video is going to be on humility. Okay. And it's going to be how I attained it so quickly.
Oh my heavens.
Come on. It's a dad joke.
I know.
So I did that. I did that at a conference one time. And, I told people, I was like, okay, hey, at 5:00, we're going to be given a talk about humility and how I attained it. The 3 steps to overcoming any boundary and how I was able to do it in such rapid time. So come see that 5:00. And there were a couple of people who laughed, and there were like 10 people who actually showed up to the room. It was so funny. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about that gold medal content. I apologize for the giant deviation.
Don't apologize. That was a good conversation.
That was a good conversation. But yes, I'm at 3.99. I'm only 8 subs away from 4K. So very close. I've got a lot of subs for my dad jokes. That's been cool. So gold medal content, 6 grams of gold in a gold medal. And the rest of it is silver. Now, the question that I asked earlier before I got all derailed and started talking about the Olympic event was, do you think that that is acceptable? Do you think that basically having a gold-plated medal is acceptable for people who worked pretty much a majority of their lives in order to get to a stage to be the best? Or do you think that they should, because you think they're making billions and billions of dollars, from this particular event, should they not have a little bit more gold in them? I mean, do you think 6 grams of gold, and granted, 6 grams of gold, if you're talking about price right now, we're looking about $600 worth of gold in a metal. And then you're talking about, in this particular one, 92% silver. So you're looking at a 14 ounce total weight metal. So, 13 ounces is silver. So you're looking at a metal that's $1,000. Do you think it's worth it?
So here's my question to you. As a cyclist, I'm not an athlete at all. I sit on my tush all day and look at coins. I mean, I used to be, but I'm not anymore. But anyway, when the Tour de France,
Yep.
what do they get? And those people have worked their entire lives to get there. They get a trophy, right? And like maybe a sponsorship.
There's a lot of stuff that comes with being a Tour de France winner, but yes.
Right, but what do they do it for?
What do you?
Do they
the glory, the fame, the enjoyment to be the best, national pride?
And I don't think there's one Olympic athlete who does it thinking about the content of that gold medal that they get around their neck. I think standing on that podium and hearing their anthem maybe mean more to them than the content of that gold medal.
Oh, I've had road rash from wrecking, and I've had a rash from sitting in a saddle for 9 hours.
Road rash, right?
Yeah.
I've seen some horrific crashes in those things, but I'm just saying. I mean, maybe part of it is the sponsorships and things that they get along with it, because they do get that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, I think they make more in that kind of stuff than they would ever in the metal content of the metal that goes around their neck. But
so one of the reasons that I asked is a lot of people don't necessarily understand some of the stuff behind what actually happens, and how much money is given to medal winners. Yeah. So there's other things that happen, and a lot of people aren't really aware. I just closed the. So I wanted to pull this
Wheaties.
up.
Wheaties. That's it. Okay. They do it for the picture on the front.
Well, I wanted to show, when you're looking at the medal wins in 2024. Okay, and this is something that really blows my mind. These are the dollar amounts, and hopefully you guys can see those. Paula, you can. Yeah. I'm going to read it out loud.
I'm looking at the YouTube side.
Okay. So these are the dollar amounts for individual sports gold medals that are given to the athletes from these particular countries. So Hong Kong has the highest at $768,000 per gold medal. If you're an athlete, you're a gold medal winner, you get $768,000. You're from Israel, it's $275,000. Serbia, $218,000. Malaysia, $214,000. Italy, $196,000. Lithuania, $182,000. Moldova, $171,000, and Latvia at $155,000. Now, again, we're talking about some of the winners. So again, we're looking at the various things. I want to show this. Oh, I'm so sick of this mouse jumping.
Technology.
Now those are national money levels. So it's not, it's specific to those countries, right? But in the US, gold medals, athletes will earn $37,500 for every gold medal in Paris, $22,000 for every silver medal, and $15,000 for a bronze. So I wanted to kind of, I realize I'm looking at that. This is coming from USA Today. If you want to look at it, I can add the article in here if you want to see that particular one. But again, when you're looking at, let me kind of zoom this in a little bit to show you those numbers again. So when you're looking at it, so I was looking at the gold, I'm like, well, they're kind of getting ripped off in the gold medal themselves. And I was trying to find out what kind of incentives and what kind of money was given to the athletes who actually performed this. And you're talking about decent money. I mean, really, really good money for being recognized. So if we were to look at something like Michael Phelps, when he was looking at the amount of money that he made, or Katie Ledecky for swimming, or these other athletes who are winning multiple medals, you know, I mean, you talk about some of these companies like, or countries like Latvia, who, you know, the likelihood that they'll win a medal is very small. So they really want to bring the greatest athletes in. That's why there's such a huge number. But when you're talking about U.S. Olympic medals, or you're talking about China or Russia or Germany or whatnot, where you're going to see a large amount of medals, some of these athletes are going to be bringing home, you know, $750,000. Some of these athletes are winning multiple medals because they're in 10 different events. You're looking at, you know, $250,000, $500,000. So when I was looking at the medal content, I was like, well, should we really be focused on that? But I wanted just to ask people, hey, Robert Bruce is in the chat. Thank you, Robert Bruce, for coming in. Appreciate you being here, bud. Mike for Democracy. Michael Phelps is a retired American Olympic swimmer who has a net worth of $100 million. Yeah, he's definitely done well with himself. But when you look at what he accomplished, he broke records across the board. So it was fabulous. But again, I wanted to bring to you guys, because I know we have a lot of stackers and collectors here. I wanted to ask if people knew what the medal content was. But I wanted to talk about just the general amount of money that some of these athletes are making. So they're definitely getting notified or noticed of their efforts and the work that they're doing. So I wanted people just to be aware of, this is kind of what they have the opportunity to win for every gold medal. So right now, just within the 5 medals that have been won, we've already got, you know, $100,000 worth of bounty that has been relayed.
But don't you think that a lot of that probably has to do with the type of sport they do? Because I know there are some sports that probably don't get a whole lot of recognition, and
so those were numbers across the board.
Like I don't remember seeing somebody who won curling on a Wheaties box.
Well, that's, yeah. So you're talking, well, actually there was, the women's curling was actually on something, 2 years ago.
What? Tampons?
No.
Sorry.
No.
I'm just saying, I think that there's some sports that probably get more endorsements than, sorry, Mike. That's my sick sense of humor. I don't know clean dad jokes.
All right. So
I would like to see it. I would like to see a breakdown of like which sports get the most endorsements and which get like the least.
Oh, I don't think we need a list. It'd be easy. Basketball, baseball, football, soccer.
Right? I mean, Olympic sports. Which Olympic sports get the most endorsements?
There's this
which get the least?
That actually breaks down. You can look at who's been on Wheatie boxes. So these are the ones that are there. Kart, racing team, baseball, hockey, football, tons and tons and tons and tons. Golf.
I mean
Tiger Woods.
Olympics.
These are Olympics.
Oh, I see. Okay.
These are
What
all the
is
people
cart?
that have made it on Wheaties boxes. All the sports.
I mean Olympic sports because we're talking about Olympics.
Alpine skiing, gymnastics, decathlon, triathlon. This is exactly what I'm showing.
Oh, but okay. But it's also showing football. And
yeah, but what I'm saying is, so you have like track and field. I'm saying the number one is it's probably football, baseball,
maybe they
basketball.
have football as soccer. Maybe they're talking about soccer when they're talking about football. I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers, no, that's football.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So she's
I
an
think
Olympian.
that there are some. I think my point is, I think there's some athletes that just do it
Oops.
for the love of the sport and to be the best that they can be and
Yeah.
to achieve the top prize, which in some sports is the Olympics. To achieve the best, be the best they can be, but it is interesting about that Olympic medal. I wonder how many of those athletes sell their medals on the secondary market.
I don't know. No, I have a really good friend who is actually I have two friends that are Olympic medalists. One of them
Serbia.
was in track and field. Her name is Mila. Phenomenal lady. Actually, I should probably bring her on one time and have her talk about the situation that she was in. She was in some controversy because remember when the Russian Olympic team in '88 was busted for doing all the doping?
Yes.
So there was a member of her team. She was in the 4-woman, the 440 or the 400-meter relay, and she ran like a 52 400, something like it, just ungodly fast. But she was one of only one of the four that was able to keep her silver medal. But she actually ran with the Olympic torch, so she has an Olympic torch, and she has her silver medal, and it's displayed there. But she talks about kind of the stuff that happened and what happened during that time frame. But here's the medal count, so you can see by country, the prices that are there. You can see the U.S. Actually, let me.
Where is the U.S.?
Right there.
See, I'm behind on YouTube, so I don't know where you're at.
So you have underneath the U.S., you have Liechtenstein, Germany, Canada, Denmark, and Australia. Australia pays the least with 13,340. But this is the list.
Oh my gosh, we give less than Slovenia.
Yeah, Slovenia, Poland, France, Kosovo, Hungary, Lithuania, Morocco, Malaysia, Serbia. Yep.
Come on, we can do better than that.
So again, but when we're talking about the prices for gold medals, now these are gold medals in general. This is not, you get, $2,000 for curling and $30,000 for alpine skiing. These are for the actual the money that they get for the actual medal count. But I wanted to share this, and I wanted, no, I wanted to share this, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Again, when you're looking at, there's more. You can look at some of the other information here. You can see how much is done historically, who's paid what, how much they've paid. You can see the breakdown by country. So these athletes.
I have another question. I have another question for you. You probably will know the answer to. Wasn't there a time when they were not allowed to be paid anything? Wasn't there a time when amateur athletes were not allowed to be paid anything?
Yes, and that changed. You remember the Dream Team?
Basketball,
the Dream Team. That was when that rule changed.
Because they brought in a bunch of professional athletes.
Yes, and so when you look at, I'm trying to remember So somebody is going to have to Google this. The 1980 Olympics, I believe, was when that changed, and it changed with two things. I believe it might have changed just before then, but I believe it was 1980. And it happened with hockey. Used to be it had to be collegiate hockey players. They couldn't be professional hockey players. I think they were one of the only ones that might have been allowed an exception, but I think that changed in 80. And it happened them and it happened with the dream team. And those were the two sports that professionals were first allowed to compete in. And then it slowly progressed up into that time frame. Before then, it was done. You were not allowed to be a professional athlete. You were not allowed to be paid in the sport that you were doing in,
Yeah,
because
you had to be an
of
amateur.
it was for it was for amateurs. You could
Mhm.
not be.
So that
You,
was the downfall. Eric says 1992.
yeah, I can't remember. 1980 were true amateurs. Okay, yeah. So I couldn't remember. Um,
Miracle on Ice.
yeah. So 1992. That was the Russians had a full dominating team. They were expected to win like 25-1 against everybody that was there. They had Canada wasn't close. Nobody was close to the Russian team at this time frame. And the American hockey team pulled up the largest, greatest upset ever, and beat the Soviet team during that time frame. Quite amazing story. If you haven't seen that's a phenomenal story. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind it. I think my next favorite movie regarding the Olympics is Cool Runnings.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
I love it. It's such a great movie. And it's a true story. There's a lot of comic leeway to it. But it is a true story about the Jamaican bobsled team, who still gets huge turnouts. The Jamaican bobsled team still gets huge crowds because of that. They've done a lot of stuff. They've done luge and stuff like that. So, but yeah, just an amazing story. Yeah, you'll see major upsets and things like that, but you'll never see some of these dream teams. When that stuff happened, I think that was the point in which professionals were allowed to play. But the dream team is when that rule changed, and I think to the detriment of the Olympics too. It should have
Yeah,
stayed.
I
It
think
should have
I
stayed.
agree.
It
I
should have stayed
agree.
amateurs.
Yep, I agree. I think that so my grandson is starting high school this year, and he brought home a fundraiser for DIL, I think it's called. Oh, what is it? Maybe anyway, it's so now they are even allowing high school athletes to make money off of their image and their name.
Oh wow!
Which is weird to me. Not
So
every state, certain states have signed on to it, but high school and college athletes can now make money off of their name and their image. And I think that sets a really, really bad precedence and I think I don't think it's good. It's good. First of all, there's enough competition in high school between kids. This just makes it even worse, and it's setting them up for a lot of issues. Like there's going to be a lot of jealousy, and I just see it causing a lot of problems, especially in high school kids. A lot of problems, but whatever.
yeah, but there are, you talk about YouTube, there are high school kids that are making millions of dollars.
Oh, I no, I understand. I'm talking
So
about high school athletics.
yeah, I don't think they should, there are things developmentally that you force kids to go. uh, to the extreme. And I think we really put ourselves in
So
a
much pressure on
yeah,
them,
in a
you
bad
know?
place.
There's
We put kids at risk. Um, we shouldn't be doing that to our kids that early. Now, if your
yeah.
kid shows enormous content or enormous talent, and you want to engage them and you want to build them and grow them, that's fine. But I don't think we should be putting the pressure of additional money and stuff like that on our kids.
Well,
Um,
I don't think that they should be. I think that at least not with minors. Like there should be something that protects their image until they're actually adults. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I just want it to all go back to the way it was when I was a kid. I want it all to go back to that way. I want to be able to send my grandkids outside to play and lock the door and not let them back in the house until the street lights come on. That's what I want.
Happy birthday, Jenny, sweetheart.
Happy birthday.
It's always her birthday.
Oh,
Just a stupid thing that is done. I think I picked that up from Steve. I can't remember. Yeah, but again, I
oh,
think
we
we
used to
put
do that with Lake House Beach. Every day was Lake
e-
House Beach's
every day was his
birthday.
birthday.
Hmm.
It's just one of those things where I support childhood athletics. I support childhood music and art and the engagement in those things. But I think we take it to extremes. We put so much
Yeah.
pressure on our kids. Uh, I mean, we got kids that are, they're out there pushing 8, 10, 12 hour training exercises and stuff. And you got kids dropping of heart attacks um, because they're so overworked. I think from growing standpoints, I think we need to challenge our kids mentally. Now, granted, weight and stuff like that, and keeping things under control and understanding food and health and hygiene and stuff like that. Hygiene, God Almighty, let's really get our kids to understand what the hell hygiene is. Um, but I think we push them too far when it comes to sports. Um, Back in the day, I remember, the occasional kid being like super talented and being able to focus on it now. But oh my God, like now it's, running training exercises and it's 103 degrees outside. We did stuff like that, but it was, you took time, you watched, you monitored. Now it's like, push, 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 push. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. You got to do more. You got to have more. You got to get sponsors. You got to do, and it's like, they're 14. Like they need to learn how to be a kid first. Right. They need to be able to understand how to do stuff. We throw these kids in with professional athletes at 17, 18, 19, and then we wonder why they get sucked up into drugs and alcohol and make stupid stuff and decisions. They're not even fully developed yet. Um, so I think we do a little bit too much of that, a little bit too early. Um, but 18 at that point in time frame, you're an adult, you should be able to start making decisions. But I think everybody should be given a mentor. I don't think we should ever leave that to the devices of the kids. I think that's bad. That's bad decision. That's bad choices. Fun stuff. Well, is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Anything that any questions you guys have? I had a lot of
Anything?
fun with school. Oh, Eric, that drives me nuts. One of the worst things that ever happened to our society is
Oh
No Child Left
man.
Behind.
Participation
It
trophies.
is the
I
worst
don't get
thing
participation.
educationally. It's one of the worst things that could have ever happened to our kids. I think it is it was the beginning of the end for our educational structure. No Child Left Behind. And I
Oh, it's
understand.
not just our kids, Frostbite. There are adults who
Have a
need
good one, Darren.
participation trophies in everything they do. It's ridiculous. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I just said, he said
Cut you
later,
off.
Frosty and everyone. Darren's taking off. Thanks for coming in, Darren. Appreciate you being
Bye.
here. Again, it's just one of those things where Um, there's a line. You remember the TV show? This is a movie, not a TV show. The Incredibles. Well, if everybody is special, nobody is. And
Right.
it's a true statement, right? If everybody's special, nobody is. Used to, we celebrated the achievers, the people who worked their butt off to understand math and science, or the people who worked their butt off to be good at track or whatever. Now it's like you have to recognize everybody. You can't you can't single out the person that's exceptional because the other people might get their feelings hurt. I think it's a travesty. I really do. I think it's a travesty. Why middle schools were invented. The transition from elementary school to high school was too much. Um, I don't. Yeah. Again, we put too much. We put too much pressure on our kids. Let our kids get outside. Let them. I joke with my son that my son was really upset because his friends had to go play outside because his friend's dad wouldn't give him a phone. He's like, well, how am I supposed to get a hold of him? I mean, we're always having to be outside if we want to go do something. Like, yeah, that's how
Mhm.
it should be. Get outside and play. Go cause a little bit of trouble. Have fun. Don't hurt yourself. But if you hurt yourself, make sure you don't do it too bad. Um, yeah, it's terrible. And, we need to honor the exceptional, and not make everybody. It's horrible. It used to be great when true amateur beat somebody that had been paid to win. Yeah, I get you, Eric. Yeah, it's
Well, we're lying to our kids. We're just lying to them. If we give them, they will never ever truly be able to, or it will take them longer to find out what they really are good at. If they grow up thinking they're good at everything because they got a trophy,
so
you know?
there are countries who when the kids are young, they will like watch and monitor the kids' actions. Like, what are they doing? Um, I heard a great story, and I may botch this a little bit. We've only got about 20 minutes before Coin Crew starts, so I'll make this pretty quick. But there was a story, and I love this story for its premise, and I forget exactly where it's at. I'll try to find it, and if I can find it, I'll read it for you verbatim. But the basic premise was this: there was a child sitting at a school, and they were fidgeting, and they were told that your kid couldn't be here because they were too fidgety. They weren't sitting still. They weren't paying attention. They were always messing with something. They were always trying to do other things. They were never focused on what was actually happening. And this kid went from school to school to school to school. And finally, they got this kid to the one school, and they were talking about the problems that were there. And the guy said, just sit on the side. You and I can have conversation about anything but your kid. I don't want to do it. I'm going to leave. The office is open. Whatever you want to do, if you want to find something, tinker with something, you want to draw, paint, color, do whatever. Let me know what you want to do. I'll make sure it's in the corner. Your mom and I are going to talk. And so they allowed the kid to kind of go through and do whatever. And as they were doing they're watching the kid, and the kid was there, and they were kind of playing with some stuff and basically taking apart, putting it back together, taking apart, putting it back together, changing things, shifting stuff around, stacking it up. And then they got it to where it was the most efficient configuration. Like, it was the best. It was easy. It was easy to put together. It looked good. And then the kid stopped and just sat there. And the person doing the interview said, you stopped playing. It's like, well, I wasn't playing. This is like, it's better now. And so they looked at it, and it in fact was better. And then they ended up putting the kid into engineering. And so they like, now we know what this kid needs to do. We need to give this kid problems that are more difficult. Like, We need to figure out things and find out how this kid works. And so they did math and science and all these other things, of course, but they focused the education on the problem solving component because this is where the kid really strived, where they really grew. And so we we tell our kids what they have to be. We tell the kids, or I shouldn't say we, step back. Society, right? No Kid Left Behind tells everybody what they have to be and what they have to do. You can't be exceptional. You can't do this. You can't think outside the box. If you're doing something that's not whatever, we got to put you on Ritalin. We got to put you on something else. We got to suppress whatever that is and make you fall in line. And this story really stuck with me a long time. And this is one reason you guys know that I absolutely support Bifrost in her art, her love for music. And she's excelling at it. Why she's excelling at it? She's good at it. But what my job is as a dad is to direct her. Hey, you're really good at art. You're really good at music. You love the arts. You love this stuff. What else do you like to do? Like, how can you utilize that? Because being an artist by itself probably may not pay the bills. So what can you do? So my job is to counsel her to look at things in different ways and see what it is that you can do, right? It's okay to figure out kind of what it is that you like. And so what I see with her is she loves working with kids. She goes to work. She actually works with, at the church, she works with the nursery, and she's able to kind of go through and look at certain items. And it's like, well, what do you want to do? Well, she actually teaches the kids who are developmentally disabled. She teaches them how to draw. She teaches them to art. She shows them how to draw certain pictures. She asks them what their best cartoon is, teaches them how to do this kind of stuff. And the kids always ask for my daughter, because they want to do that. They like doing that. If they're putting something together and they want to do something, then they try to find another kid that is in that pool of people who are in that support structure to match with that kid. I absolutely love this program. We don't do that anymore. We tell our kids what they need to be. Now, no, Eric, I'm not talking about allowing your kid to go pee being that free if you want to pee in the litter box. I'm not talking that extreme. But really understand what your kid is good at. Because we don't know what gift you've been given unless we allow you to work in that, right? We don't know what you've been blessed with. We don't know if you have the gift for numbers. We don't know if you have the gift for insight. You may be really good. I'm going to pick on Tiger Stacker. He's in here. You may be really good. He's a scientist. He's a doc. He understands. You may be able to break down numbers, look at stuff, understand statistical reasoning. You may be able to understand the scientific method. You may be really, really, really good at doing that. But I would never, ever, ever hire Tiger as a technical support advisor.
But can he bait a hook?
I don't know, but he's a really good debater. I would say he's a master at it. No, but again, so, we tell everybody they have to do something. You have to be good at computers. You have to be good at this. No, you don't. And so it's one of those things where, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. My big thing is, take time to understand what your kids are good at and nurture those things. Obviously there's discipline that goes along with that. Obviously there are rules and boundaries that must be set, right? We have to set boundaries. It's a healthy part of life. But again, teaching our kids these things, I just think forcing our kids, to grow up, and I'm not talking about being responsible. I'm talking about becoming adults before the opportunity of them really understanding what needs to happen. I think that's it can be detrimental to the kids, puts way too much pressure on them. And then this is why we're having kids that are in their 20s that are burning out mentally. They can't do it. They can't struggle with it. They can't figure things out because there's so much pressure put on them that they don't have the opportunity to really find out what works.
We are raising a bunch, and look, this is
Don't
Probably,
hold it
I'm
back.
gonna say it.
Yeah.
We are raising a bunch of stupid
En-
sissy lalas.
entitled.
We this we are dumbing our kids down. And it's really, really frightening.
It is. And it's sad because when we look, and so we'll kind of get back to the stacking and the collecting end of things. Kids need to understand by a raise of thumbs up or something in chat. Okay. How many of you teach your kids finance? Like how to balance a checkbook?
Did they do when you were in school? Did you learn that? Like, did
That's where
I
I was
learned
going, Eric.
that? Like, we
That's the
got
word I thought
fake
she was going to say.
checks. We got fake checks and fake checkbooks, and we learned all that stuff. We had home ec too.
We had no, Eric, that's the word that I thought Paula was going to use. We had
Well, I was trying to be nice, but yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not smart.
We had a guy who taught home economics. We had two teachers. We had one that taught, cooking and hygiene and sewing and how to sew a button on a shirt and how to iron, like just general life skills. It was a class that we had to take. So you basically had to be, independent. You had to learn how to function for yourself. And we did a very short stint on money, but we didn't do deep, like we weren't given a checkbook. We were asked to balance things. So you have $1,000 and these are your bills. How much money do you have left? And what kind of things can you think of that are not on the list that you might have to cover? And they were little things like gas, or we didn't have cell phones back in those days, so it wasn't cell phones. But we would have things like gas or emergency items, or going out to dinner with friends or stuff like that. So we had to understand how to put just like a general basic budget together, and that was something that's taught. I remember when the first Monopoly game that you used a credit card instead of money, where it was all done through a credit card. You swipe a credit card and then you lose your money, but you swipe the credit card
I've
and
never seen that.
Are
I
you
didn't
kidding
know
me?
that existed.
Oh yeah. Here, let me pull it up. Hold on.
That's
Freaking
hysterical.
unbelievable.
You can't cherry pick our kids. They all have a skill or an ability. Well, but they're not all equal.
And I'm not supporting this.
When it comes to intelligence or strength.
Dagnabbit. What the hell is it doing?
Do you have to? Children are not created in a bubble. They don't all fit into a box.
Look.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. That's hysterical.
Yeah, no joke. Credit card, right? Hey, what's up, Kevin? Good to see you. Yeah, and again, so you have this? No, Tiger, I'm not kidding you.
It's actually kind of sad.
Yeah,
kind of sad.
But the question is, right? Like we have a lot of stackers in here.
Next, it'll be Bitcoin. I'll be playing Monopoly with Bitcoin.
Hold on. Let me show you.
Don't tell me there's a Bitcoin Monopoly.
Hold on.
I quit. I quit.
Let me show you this. I have to close a couple things here. Hold on just a second. Okay. Because I don't want to show the site. There we go. I want to make sure, because I don't support this site at all. But I want to show, look. Called the Mining Factory. It's actually a Bitcoin based. Yeah, it's a cryptocurrency Monopoly game.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, these things exist, folks. So again, my question is, how many of you teach your kids budgeting, right? Like how many people actually go through and teach their kids what it is to balance a budget and actually go through and look at what it is to show them the things that happen and what's going on and how much is, how much you pay for water and electrical. And I sat my sons down and I asked them, I was like, how much do you think I make? And we talked about the amount of money that I make. And it's like, how much money do you think I have at the end of the month? And we talked about taxes and we talked about this stuff. And they were like, oh my God, like almost all of your paycheck goes to food in the house. I'm like, yeah, that's welcome to life, right? Where do you think my money came from? How do you think all this stuff was paid for? You really need to be preparing your kids for this kind of stuff. But if you're a stacker or you're a collector and you don't have any money, how in the world do you expect to get nicer stuff? Going into debt, never, ever, ever go into debt to collect coins. Don't buy gold and silver with a credit card because what you think you get a good deal on spot price and then you end up paying on it for 7 years and you end up paying, $45 or $50 an ounce for those silver rounds that you put on a credit card. And now you pay 5 years on it at 19 or 22 or 30% interest. Right. So it's really important to understand budgeting. It's really important to understand the art of that. And so, again, this is why I like to work with Tiger and like to work with the stacking community and talking about budgeting, because even as collectors, it's important for us to understand genuinely where our wealth is, where our money is, and how to balance and budget that stuff. So, but yeah, they definitely have one for Bitcoin, and they have a credit card version of Monopoly. So, ye freaking ha.
Yeah. Sorry, I was answering somebody.
No, it's all good. No worries. This guy on Whatnot is selling a 5-kilo Noah's Ark for $5,500.
Okay.
I would question it.
How much does it normally go for?
Yeah, I would question it. Seriously,
How
I would
much does
question
so
it.
what is the melt value? Let's start there. What is the melt value today of 5 kilos in silver?
So you're looking at a kilo being $2,200. So it's probably 2/3 of the price.
So there's your answer.
Yeah. Or maybe even a third of the price. A third of the price. Yeah.
There's your answer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's bad juju, right?
Yeah.
You may get some idiot that thinks that that's a good price, but
maybe 5 kilos of copper. I don't know.
Well, he says a 5-kilo
Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark. Yeah, Noah's Ark. I don't think it's.
Is there even? I think he may mean 5 ounce. Because did they even make a 5-kilo Noah's Ark?
He said 5 kilo. He's looking at Whatnot. So.
Well, you would be able to tell by looking at it.
Pedro's dropping the numbers. This is why it's always fun to have stackers in the chat.
So
32.15 ounces per kilo. So you're looking at, let's see, 10-ounce bar is 300. So $369,000, 5,000. Actually, that's not bad. That's actually not a bad price. I thought a kilo was closer to like $1,800. Is that about right?
That's about right. Okay.
Melt is 52.44.
Okay. I don't know what 5 kilos. That's why I asked.
I thought a kilo was more. This is why it's good to have stackers in there, because I don't remember the numbers.
So that's why I asked.
So you said that's not a bad price. So it's actually that's actually overpriced by a couple $100.
But there's probably a premium on it.
Maybe.
So we're not looking at a Noah's Ark thing as just silver melt value. If it's a collectible, then there's going to be a premium on top of it.
Mike
And
for
I don't think,
Democracy says the 5 kilo is from Armenia.
okay, so
It's
and I don't think that $200
$5,643.
on a price that much is that much of a premium. So it's a coin.
Yep.
Yeah. So you've got numismatic value if it's a coin. But yeah.
Well, cool. I'm going to drop Coin Crew.
Yeah, I got to get ready for church. You guys have a blessed day. Have a blessed week next week. Shameless plug, our live coin Q&A tomorrow is just chat. So if you have questions, be there or be square. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Paula, for coming up. Thanks for the banter. All right. Well, very cool. Well, folks, thank you for coming in and doing that. I appreciate you guys. So is Whatnot a no-go purchase? See, I would never purchase from Whatnot because you don't have time to really look at it unless you're 100% certain of the source. Whatnot is a stay away from me. I don't even go there. I have a couple of good people that I know, and Adam and Sean Coppercoins, or excuse me, Blue Ridge Silverhound. I know them. I trust them. I still won't go buy from them at those sites because I don't support Whatnot. It's too easy to spend too much money. You think you're getting one bid, somebody's bid up over top of you real fast. You're looking to spend $22 and all of a sudden now you're in 35. I don't do it. So buyer discretion when you're utilizing those sites. But anyway, there are people that you can trust there. Go for it. If that's what you want to do, it's up to you, your game. Thank you all for being here today. Sorry for the banter and the discussion earlier. Again, I appreciate the lively discussion. We'll be doing some stuff hopefully later on. Bifrost and I are going to be doing a recording. We'll be putting out another mashup. I've sent out all packages that I owe to everybody that finally went out. I apologize for any delays. So thank you all. But CoinQ is about to start off. They're going to break out. They're going to have some fun stuff. So go check them out. Tell them Frosty sent you. Love you guys. I only need 8 subs for 4K. So please do me a favor. Don't share out this stream. It's going to piss off a bunch of people. But y'all have a wonderful day. Take care. God bless. I will see you in the stream.